Good morning, everyone, again. Happy Friday, happy Valentine's Day, all the great things. We have another session this morning with Hiba. That's going to be for the EVC Community Meditation. And if you have a journal, pull it out because we may be doing some prompts today, which is going to be a great thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Hiba and allow Hiba to be able to speak and talk to everyone through this.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Jeannie. Welcome. Take a few moments to settle in. A few more friends joining. I was mentioning earlier that there'll be an option to lean into some journaling this morning. So go ahead and make sure you have a notebook if you feel like that's something you might want to lean into. And option to have your camera on or off, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. So take a moment to make that choice. And then just start to make yourself as comfortable as you can in this moment. So I like to adjust my sort of seat, shift around a little bit if I'm seated. You can also choose to do this practice lying down. Maybe take a moment to notice if you're too cold or too warm. And if you have control over the temperature in your room, you can go ahead and adjust that. And from wherever you are beginning your practice, start to invite a softness into the eyes. So maybe shifting your gaze away from the screen to the wall. If you're going to keep your eyes open, you can also just invite the eyes to close halfway to the tip of your nose. Maybe if it feels safe this morning, go ahead and close the eyes completely. And as you bring a softness to your eyes, take a moment to notice your body rooted to whatever surface it's tethered to, maybe the chair, the bed, the floor. And feel that gravitational pull that's anchoring you to the earth. To the extent that you can, just leaning into that sense of stability, maybe letting that invite a sense of softness and ease into your whole body, your whole self. And as you feel yourself rooted, just notice what the energy level is like in the body this morning. No right or wrong, good or bad. Notice if there's any subtle or not so subtle sensations in the body. And then we'll settle our attention on noticing the breath. Notice the body breathing itself. No need for you to do anything. Just simply allowing yourself to witness the body taking the breath in and letting the breath go. And if the mind feels excessively lethargic or excessively busy this morning, allow yourself to repeat, this is my inhale as you breathe in. This is my exhale as you breathe out. We invite these phrases just to give the mind something to do so it stays anchored to this task of noticing the breath coming in and out of the body. And see if you can start to cultivate a deep curiosity about the breath and the whole cycle of the breath. Can you notice when the inhale begins, noticing the inhale traveling down maybe to the belly, noticing the pause, you noticing that journey of the exhale upward, and paying attention to that moment when the exhale eventually transitions to your next inhale. Let's stay here for just a few moments, noticing and connecting to our breath. Breathing in, I know this is my inhale. Breathing out, I know this is my exhale. One of my favorite poems is by Glennis Redman, which is Make No Apologies for Yourself. And so we'll anchor our practice in her words this morning. And something that I heard, not from Glennis, but another poet, is how writing is an extension of the body. I just want that to land. Writing is an extension of the body. So everything we have experienced thus far in life, the mundane, extraordinary, joyful, and painful, the whole gamut, all of it we've experienced in this body. The body holds tremendous wisdom, information, data. So often we associate what we know with our minds, but the entire body has deep wisdom that it's holding. So we'll connect to that idea in our practice this morning. Let's bring our awareness to settle on the eyes. And keeping your body as relaxed as you can, just bringing the awareness to the eyes, noticing that you have eyes. Just noticing what you notice about the eyes in this moment. Maybe even noticing just off the top what you remember are all the ways that your eyes support you. In that space right in between the eyebrows and at the corners of the eyes, inviting the eyes to soften. And then if it's available to you, maybe bringing the hands to rest on the eyes, just a gentle cupping of the eyes with your hands. What have the eyes seen? What do they need to share? What have the eyes seen? What do they need to share? Just posing this question gently to the eyes, inviting the eyes to soften and ease into this moment. And then whenever you're ready, just releasing the hands if you lifted them and bringing the awareness to the ears. Just noticing the ears. Be tracing in your mind the shape of the ears. Noticing what you notice in this moment about your ears. And starting to notice all the ways in which the ears have supported you, the sounds and voices they've been able to hear. And the ears hold a tremendous wisdom. And if it's available to you, you can bring the hands to cup the ears, inviting some ease into the ears. What have the ears heard? What do they need to say? Just inviting a gentle inquiry, inviting the ears to soften. What have the ears heard? What do they need to share? And then releasing the hands down if you lifted them. And bringing the awareness to the shoulders. And if you'd like, maybe you can circle the shoulders up and down a few times. See if you can invite the shoulders to soften as far away from the ears as you can, so you feel a long line of energy from the earlobe all the way to the tops of the shoulders. And just noticing what you notice about the shoulders in this moment. And just taking a moment to remember all that the shoulders have held and carried physically and emotionally and energetically throughout your life. Maybe inviting some ease into the shoulders by placing the hands on them if that's available to you. Inviting the shoulders to soften and posing that gentle inquiry. What have the shoulders carried? What do they need to share? And then dropping the hands down if you lifted them and bringing the awareness to the feet. Just noticing that you have feet, maybe wiggling the toes, squeezing and flexing the feet. And just noticing what you notice about the feet in this moment. And taking a moment to remember all the ways that the feet have supported you. So you can visualize placing your hands on your feet as a gesture to invite them to ease and soften. For all the rooms and spaces, the paths that the feet have walked. What do they need to share? What do the feet need to share? And then gently guiding the awareness up to rest right at your heart space. If you are called to, you can place a hand at your chest to connect with this space. And noticing in this moment that there's a heart in this body, that it is beating and doing its part to keep you alive. Just noticing what you notice about your own heart this morning. Remembering all the ways that it has supported you. The heart has given and received so much. Both tender and painful and everything in between. What has the heart felt? What does it need to share? Continuing to invite and ease into the heart. What does my heart need to share? And you can continue to keep your awareness at your heart space or return it to the breath or wherever your awareness wants to land. And just take a moment to reconnect to the stability of the ground that is holding your whole being in this moment. Feel yourself safe and supported and at ease. And I'll read the poem in just a moment. And as I read, see if you can allow your entire body to receive the words from the poem. So dropping the attention and focus from the mind deep into the body. Dear you, make no apologies for yourself because you are covered in a listening skin. Because every ache you feel is not your own. Because of the lynching tree. Because of how many rivers they crossed. Because of the bowl of sorrow your mother carries. Because of your father's wildfire moods. Because when you enter bookstores, books fall off of shelves into your open palms. Because you ask questions of the universe, the world opens before you like a page. Because of those clouds and that murder of prose, because poets are your wounded idols. Because the truth, even if it hurts, it is to be cherished and held. And just because people die does not mean they don't walk with you daily. Because the river has a mouth that speaks their names. Because the river flows with stories. Because you sit on the shore and listen. Because alone is more comforting than being together. Because your pen is oceanic. Because you are big-eyed and eyes wide. Because you suffer from what you see and hear. Because you have sinus arrhythmia. You know your heart is linked to your breath and your breath is short. Because asthma is one of the monkeys on your back. Because your heart is the vehicle you chose to ride this go round. Because it can go forward and backwards in time. Because bookstores have always been oracles. Because poetry is your greatest archaeological tool. Because you dig and you dive. Because you plummet if you cannot swim. Because you trust the ride of journal and journey, even if you do not always float. Because your heart beats to your breath. Because of this music, you dance raw and wild. I'll read it one more time. Dear you, make no apologies for yourself because you are covered in a listening skin. Because every ache you feel is not your own. Because of the lynching tree. Because of how many rivers they crossed. Because of the bowl of sorrow your mother carries. Because of your father's wildfire moods. Because when you enter bookstores, books fall off of shelves into your open palms. Because you ask questions of the universe, the world opens before you like a page. Because of those clouds and that murder of crows. Because poets are your wounded idols. Because the truth, even if it hurts, it is to be cherished and held. And just because people die does not mean they don't walk with you daily. Because the river has a mouth that speaks their names. Because the river flows with stories. Because you sit on the shore and listen. Because alone is more comforting than being together. Because your pen is oceanic. Because you are big-eyed and eyes wide. Because you suffer from what you see and hear. Because you have sinus arrhythmia, you know your heart is linked to your breath and your breath is short. Because asthma is one of the monkeys on your back. Because your heart is the vehicle you chose to ride this go round. Because it can go forward and backwards in time. Because bookstores have always been oracles. Because poetry is your greatest archaeological tool. Because you dig and you dive. Because you plummet if you cannot swim. Because you trust the ride of journal and journey, even if you do not always float. Because your heart beats to your breath. Because of this music, you dance raw and wild. So just take a moment to let the words land. So think about being read to is that the words have already touched you and evoked something. So in just a moment, the invitation will be to grab your journal or notebook and we'll practice what is called uncensored wild writing. And the prompt will be, Dear you, make no apologies for yourself because. Dear you, make no apologies for yourself because. The invitation is to write as fast as you can without pen leaving paper, without censoring or editing yourself. This is not about good writing or beautiful writing. Just let the words that are coming up, even if they don't make sense to you, even if you don't like them, run from your body through your hand onto the paper. Remembering what that phrase from Natalie Diaz's writing, the writing is an extension of the body. So we practice embracing whatever is arising. And if you choose not to journal for whatever reason, just taking the next few moments as our friends journal, those who are journaling, to maybe stay anchored on your breath. Breathing in, noticing the inhale, and breathing out, noticing the exhale. And for my friends who are choosing to journal, now you can see if you can stay in that inward, intimate place that we've reached as you grab your journal and open your eyes. You can continue to look away from the screen. There's nothing to look at the screen for. The jump off line is, Dear you, make no apologies for yourself because. What we're practicing here is being in touch with and accepting what is arising, what's at the surface without criticizing it. Because if we don't do that, we can't access the deeper stuff. Okay, so I'm watching the time and we'll sit here for about 10 minutes or so. Let's give it about 7 minutes. So we'll bring folks back at the 37 mark and then close together. All right, friends, for those of you who are journaling, take a few moments to come to a stopping point. You can always revisit this later this morning or later today. The invitation, once again, is to take a just notice to see if you can adjust your body in any way to make yourself comfortable. And keeping your eyes soft or closed, just allow whatever has surfaced to land. Make peace with whatever has arisen in this morning's practice. One of the major consequences of the systems in which we're all living is that it's a deep severing, a disconnection from each other, from the planet, and from ourselves. And that can take place in our practice too if we're not careful. So today's practice and the journaling practice in particular and the body awareness is intended to offer that reconnection. There's nothing about us or in us that is wrong or needs to be judged or silenced or stored away. We practice, the keyword practice, because so long as we're living in these systems, we'll never perfect it. So we have to keep practicing and cultivating that muscle, accepting with unconditional love all that we experience in this body. If you'd like, you can bring a hand to your heart space. As we close our practice, we'll close with a few metta phrases. Metta means loving kindness, extending them first to ourselves and then to others. Soften your eyes, relax the jaw, drop the shoulders away from the ears, let the belly be soft. And take a moment to sense your being from the inside out, top to bottom, front to back, side to side. May I be safe and protected. May I think, speak, and act with kindness towards myself and others. May I be at ease in my mind, body, and spirit. And take a deep breath in and a full breath out. Your heart space inviting the essence of a loved one, near or far. Someone whose presence you find nourishing. Just taking a moment to remember that they too are just like you on their own path, filled with their own experiences and wisdom. May you be safe and protected. May you think, speak, and act with kindness towards yourself and others. May you be at ease in your body, mind, and spirit. And deep breath in, the full breath out. And then to the extent that is available to you this morning, inviting the essence of other loved ones, near or far, into your heart space. And as this space expands, maybe inviting the essence of other beings like the ones with whom you've been sharing your practice this morning, your neighbors, known and unknown, your clients, folks in your community, co-workers. Remembering in this moment, our practice this morning, that we're incentivized to believe that we're all doing this thing called life individually and separately. We are deeply bound. Our paths are inextricably linked, deeply bound to each other. Notice and feel yourself as an integral part of this collective. May we be safe and protected. May we think, speak, and act with kindness towards ourselves and others. May we be at ease in our minds, bodies, and spirits. May all beings everywhere, without exception, be safe and protected. Think, speak, and act with kindness towards themselves and others. May all beings everywhere, without exception, be at ease in their minds, bodies, and spirits. May it be so, may it be so, may it be so. And we'll close our practice with a round of breath together. Let's take a deep breath in. And together, let's let that breath go. And I thank each of you for your presence and your practice. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.